Welcome back to Higher Talks. We're going to go into or continue Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. We started last week describing what's the difference between the three realms that we live in. And those three realms, one is Nefesh, which is the human body, and our human body is an entire world of its own, which means we have all different feelings inside and all different parts inside. And those parts are just like human beings inside the bigger world. Okay? So I know it sounds a little bit science fiction and you need to think for this, but think about the big world. In the big world that we live in, when we go out of our houses, we see people, and we have an electrician, we have a plumber, we have a contractor, we have a philosopher, a writer, a doctor, and a taxi driver. We have all different types of people. And if you look into the Gemara, you'll see that Reb Sheshes was blind, and you had Reb Zera had burnt feet. And you go through, you start seeing even disabled people. Everybody lives here, and everybody tries to be the best person they can. Everybody has to bring home food for themselves. They have to make sure they could take care of their responsibilities in life. They have a whole bunch of things that they have to do just for themselves. And in this world, they have things that they have to do with other people. They need, of course, a family. They need friends and the outlet, whatever they need. They need other people to be able to bring them all the things that they need. Yes, of course, there are going to be people who are going to seclude themselves. But will they ever be remembered? Will they add to society? Are they giving back to the world what the world is giving to them? Are they continuing to the next generation? Are they passing on their legacy? That's the question, really. And if someone decides to just isolate themselves, that's basically what they're doing. They're leaving their entire legacy with themselves, and they're not contributing. Not being a contributor means that you're not accomplished, because you could accomplish your little jobs that you have, the tasks that you want for yourself, but what good do you have of that if you don't have other people to share it with? You need to be, if you want to be a good person, not to get angry, then you need to be tested by other people. Not just being tested when you trip and you fall, and not just being tested when something in your house breaks, but really to be tested and see, can I be stronger than that? Can I be stronger than somebody insulting me in public and know how to deal with that? So you need other people in order to live, and that's what Shana is all about. So there's Olam, Shana, and Nefesh. So in Shana, all of our nefashos live. Every person's nefesh is an individual world of their own, and they find themselves all in a bigger world called Shana. And now, in Shana, we have to learn to work together. You need the plumber to go and fix my sinks and plumbing, and I need to go and contribute in my way. Everybody contributes in their own way, in their own talents, in the ways that they could make things better for other people. Okay, that's what we all do. We walk around, we meet people, we smile, we offer our services, we speak, we write, and we do whatever we're good at in order to expand extend our hand to the world and say, this is what I could provide, this is what I'm good at, and I would love for you to call on me, and I will provide that service, and hopefully you will feel good receiving that. You'll appreciate it, and it'll be able to be a constant thought on your mind, because it's a good thing that I did for you, and hopefully not a bad thing, because we don't want people to think about us badly too often. We don't want them to have our name on their minds every time something goes wrong. You want somebody reliable. You want to know that you could provide the service so that other people could remember you fairly, and you leave a certain legacy of a type of person that you are, and the types of things that you did, and the things that you did, those that creates who you are, and it proves to the world how a human being can live. And we really try to work to be best people to become that person in the cloud, in the general public, in order to bring that to life, so that your life can be meaningful. So now, as we just said, there are tons of nefashos, and every nefesh has to learn to work with other people. That is work that is up to the nefesh. If a person wants to be able to go out to the world and be productive and start contributing, if somebody wants to contribute, they'll need to learn how to behave around other people, and how to accept when somebody lashes out, and learn how to deal with relationships, be around other people. So all that requires a lot of inner work, and to get into that, we have to understand, where do we start from? Where do we start from? We start on a blank page. There's a blank page. When we are born, we don't know anything. Our minds are fresh. The only things that are running are the subconscious mind. The subconscious is in the back, and it knows why it's here. It knows how to breathe. It knows how to ask for food. It has the basics within it, and it has a certain sense of I am something. It has the ego, and all those parts of the body, the heart pumping and the knowledge for that, all of that is hanging out in there. So you get to see Nefesh as a house. We're going into it. We're going to start digging into what is the subconscious mind, what's going on over there. But the regular person, without looking at the subconscious mind, is blank and knows nothing. And now there's a nature in the background that's going to lead him into the world, and then there's a nurture as well that's going to lead him into the world. And that nature, is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it being a spy? Is it being an oibrechochem, as they say in Yiddish? Or what's it going to be? Like, what's that person's nature going to be? And then there's a nurture, which means based on the people that are around them, based on the circumstances they are in. Are they going hungry every day? Do they need to go and do they need to fight for food for the rest of their life? So they become a certain person based on the stories that happened around them, and based on the bullies they had in school, and based on the brothers, and based on the fights that they had, and how many times they got stitches, and that's how they base their life on nature and nurture. And we become a certain person and start seeing the world from a certain lens. Is it a happy, optimistic lens, or is it a sad and a pessimistic lens? And when people come over to us, do we trust them or don't we trust them? All those things come about based on the stories of our life. Throughout every step in your life, throughout every second that you live, and every story that you create out in the world, those stories are going to start piling in. This person shamed me, this person yelled at me, and I really enjoy doing that, and that story, that ice cream, that candy. You start going through your life with tons of memories, and for every moment creates another memory and another story inside of you that shapes you to become the person that you are on autopilot. Okay, autopilot means blankly steering into the world based on everything I know to be true. This is how I live. And some people who've gone through a very easy life, and they have the sweetest parents, and they always had enough money in their home, so he never worried. He never went to sleep hungry. He learned in the best classes, and everybody loved him, truly loved him, which is, it's like hard to say. From 30 kids in the entire class, every rebbe, every teacher, every principal, every bus driver, and he never heard a bad word in his life. His nature and his nurture, could possibly give him that opportunity to be able to do whatever he wants in his life. Like the really true American dream, saying you're going to have everything you need so that you could be anything, so you could do anything and be whoever and whatever you want. And that's like a true American dream, and why not? We wish for that freedom. We want to be able to live with Hashem, and we want to be able to see Him and learn all day, and be just be relaxed, not have to go and sweat for our food. We want to go back to before Adam Arisha, before the Chet Adam Arisha and Gan Eden, and say, okay, I don't want Zeyes Apecha Toicha Lechem. I don't want to be sweating in order to breathe the sweat of my lips. Zeyach Apecha. We don't want that in order to have our good life. We want to have just a good life. We want to enjoy it. We want to be able to go and not trip and not step on a Lego every now and then. We don't want that. So if such a person really has that opportunity, he should take it because it's great. But the question is, who says that the life that I had and the life that you have and everybody else has, who says this is not the perfect life? And as long as we see our problems as problems, we just think that I'm supposed to have a certain life, which I don't know yet. And this life that I just lived didn't serve me well, didn't serve me right. And at some point, you stop. At some point happens, either when something bad happens in your life that you really have to wake up and say, okay, I'm really not in control. Whom can I turn to? And what are my talents? And what am I good at? So I could get myself out of this. What tools am I going to use in order to figure my way out? Am I going to start speaking to more people? Am I going to start asking for help? Am I going to express my talents properly in order to come out of this a winner and not look like a loser? We start waking up to ourselves and saying, okay, I have to really do something in my life, in my nefesh, in order to make myself a different person. This work is called avodas hamidas. When you look into the Chayvus Avavas and to the Sifrei Musar, and you look into the Sifrei Chasidus, and you look at all of them, you'll see there's avodas hanefesh, the work of the nefesh, and avodas halev, which is davening, as the Gemara says in Mesechtas Bruchos, right? Eizihi avodas shebelev, haraizi tefillah, hava oima zet tefillah, right? Eizihi avodas shebelev. What's the work of the heart? The work of the heart is davening. So davening and talking inwards, saying words towards Hashem, and understanding the words that we're saying. Not just saying the words and saying, I have to finish from Baruch Hashem La'olam until Al Kol Masav in 0.47 seconds, otherwise you miss Kaddish because somehow the Baal Tefillah is already done. It's not just about saying those words, it's about understanding the words, going through and saying and understanding what you're saying. You are the one who gives, who grants das. And you teach people how to think. You teach people how to think. How does Hashem teach us how to think? He gives us things in our lives that make us stop and say, whoa, what just happened? Or how can I get myself out of this? How can I, what's going on in my life? Or when somebody comes home late, you ask them a question, why are you home late? What happened? That ability to ask a question, that ability or for the person to think and be worried and have all his calculations in his mind, all of that is malamed le'enesh bina. He teaches us how to think because when someone comes home late, we're worried and we ask them, we want to know, where were you? Right? We try to get through to them because something's bothering us. And the same thing is with going through our life. We go through the pattern of the ups and downs. We have a similar thing that we're always picked on by the teacher throughout so many years. Somehow I could see a pattern in my life that I've always been pretty good in sports. And sometimes you'll have all these stories of the friendships that you had like a group of friends in this age and it all fell apart. You had a group of friends in this age, all fell apart. A group of friends in this age, and you're trying to hold on to one last guy and you're feeling like, what if I lose him as well? Like, is this a pattern that's going to repeat itself? You start looking at the pattern of your life and you start questioning it. You start saying, okay, I see that there is all this in my life, and I also understand the goal that I want to get to. I want to get to a certain goal, which is, if a person says, I want to get to a financial goal, they will create that in their mind. You have to visualize it, create it, build towards it. And And then you start asking questions. Why throughout my life am I having trouble reaching this goal? I want to reach to this goal, and I'm having trouble wherever I go. Every time I try, I keep on falling. This is like my biggest problem. Why can't I do it? What's holding me back? And we go into the patterns, and we start seeing, yes, we're dealing with a whole bunch of pain and stuff that from stories that happened years ago, and they have programmed us. They became our nurture that is leading us and guiding us, that we only see the world through those lenses. They are the only lenses that you look at. And from now on, we're looking forward to switching glasses. We want to switch glasses completely to a mindset of growth. We want to do that. We want to grow upward, and we want to constantly look and know that we never reach the top, and we constantly still have to grow. There's never a conclusion. A conclusion is just a place where I'm stopping at right now, because I still want to grow my goal. My goal is never going to be done. But in order to reach my first goal, I have to learn to let go of certain things of the past. I have to learn how to see it from a different perspective. I have to start seeing that I was here to learn from them. Because of these stories, because of those people in my life, because of those ups and downs, I actually am able to move on and find that and reach that goal. If once I learn why these things happen and see that Hashem had a plan, that's like the ultimate goal for a person to see. But even if we see that, after 20 years something happened, like we used to have a fight, but now he's coming to me for business. So you start seeing how 20 years went by, and really this person was just a menace back then, and now Hashem put the two of you together 20 years later, and you're best friends, and you're enjoying a beer and helping each other out. So you get to see it in such a way. Then either way, you'll learn your lesson, and you start seeing things in the world differently. You'll start seeing, hey, people could make up, people could become friends again, and you start living with that point of view, because you just created a new step forward in your life. From now on, when you look around in the world and you see somebody fighting, you start thinking about your friend. Instead of thinking about the old back stories from way back when, that you had this, and people used to fight with you, and they shamed you and everything on the courtyard. And now, when you see somebody fighting with somebody else, you would usually get very angry at that kid. You would be like, make him stop. How could we make him stop? Because this is the only way you saw the world. But from now on, when you see that 20 years later you're able to make up with a friend, what you'll do is you'll see kids fighting. Either you'll walk by and smile to yourself, or you'll stop the kids and tell them, hey kids, you're fighting now, but in a couple of years you might be partners. And he might lighten up. His life becomes different, because when he sees this, he no longer gets triggered back to the old and down and bad stuff. He goes to the last thought that he just built around all these stories. He went and took all these stories and he said, okay, you go into this canister, and this canister will be closed and it will be stamped. And what will it be stamped with? The lesson of seeing things differently. I could see that all these bad things will become good one day. So now, as I started, this is the avodas hanefesh. This is what we do when we go inward. And inward means in the world of inside, the world of thinking. And there are many of us who, just by speaking to them, you could already see that these people hang out over there. These people think a lot. These people really take their life on earth, and every second they live seriously. And it's a pleasure to be around such people, and I would only wish for everybody to be able to get there, for everybody to get themselves to a place where they could acknowledge their strengths and weaknesses, so that way they could go out to the street, and if somebody says something, you don't become angry, you don't become crazy. All you say is, I know who I am. I know that being angry was a very big flaw in my life, and I really wanted to change it for a long time. And now I figured out, guess what? I could change it, because it's rooted into things that happened to me and things that are in my nature, and I'm going to see how I could become a better person. And in this whole world of Nefesh, there's so much to go into. There are so many doors that you could open up, and so many people that you could meet. Just like in the world you have different types of people, in the body as well. You have so many different people that you could go and meet. You could meet happiness, you could meet sadness, you could meet anger, you could meet ego, you could meet your eyes and your ears, your nose, your mouth, the five senses, and the sleep inside of you, the whole thing of that. And you could go to memory lane, and you could go into your safe space and into the control room, and you go, and there's so much to explore. But when I say all these special names, control room and safe space, we could elevate all this knowledge from our body and all this knowledge from the body of the world with all the people in it, everything we just spoke about, and way, way more, and elevate all of that to the mindset of Hashem. We could take all that and say, yes, just like in me I have happiness and sadness, the world, not just the world around me, that there are people who are happy, there are societies who are sad, but even in the greater world of Hashem, the creation of the background of the fabric of the universe, all of that there's happiness and sadness, there's din and rachamim. There are much greater doors that you could go into. So when a person goes through themselves, they're basically learning on a demo, on a small physical demo of the bigger world. And that's what it means to say we are built b'tzelem Elokim. Our entire inside is built like the tzelem Elokim, like the figure of Hashem, which means we have doors and doors and doors to go into of different chachmas, of different wisdom that we could go and uncover to learn how to become better people and to learn how to become like Hashem, to learn how to be like Him. And that's a mitzvah in the Torah. You should be just like Him. You should attach yourself to His ways. We want to become like Him. And if we live like that, and everybody else in the Shana world lives like that, if every Nefesh individually builds himself up to live like that way, and every person individually in the world goes and does that for themselves, we will all be a nation of Hashem Echad. We will all be one, saying, hey, we see it clearly. We live with the higher world our entire lives. We see it from within us. We see it within nature, and we see it within the higher realms as well. So, this is where I'll leave you for this week. I appreciate very much that you joined. I can't believe this was just 22 minutes. I appreciate you joining, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you next week. So I'm Davi Lemmer. You could find my books on Amazon. I have Who Am I, which is a beautiful book which describes this exact idea in a story-like form. This idea of the Nefesh is Who Am I? You could find it on Amazon, David Lemmer, Who Am I? Then I have another book which is called the Tehillim Legacy Journal, which is poems on every pasuk in Tehillim. Every pasuk in Tehillim gets a poem, beautiful English, explaining the words of Tehillim according to the understanding of Rashi, Radak, and Metzudas David. It's brilliantly written. It took me a lot of time, and I wrote it just for you. Alright, you could reach me at LemmerHypno@gmail.com, and I'll see you next time. Be well.